As mentioned, I'm Mark Troyer and I manage the MEA Solutions Consulting team at LastPass. I'm based here in the Netherlands near the city of Utrecht. Thank you for joining us here today in this webinar. The session is designed for MSP business owners or managers that will be overseeing the launch of the LastPass product set into your customer base. The structure of this presentation focuses on identifying the top practical activities that you need to know to get started as a LastPass MSP. After watching this webinar, you should be able to organize your team in getting started. As previously mentioned in the poll, we will discuss the top practical activities that you need to know to get started as a LastPass MSP. This includes 4 areas that will help you win new customers and generate a repeatable revenue stream. First, I'd like to take a few minutes to review the market opportunity for Enterprise Password Management, or EPM. This will focus on LastPass, of course. Next, I will talk about the LastPass Partner Exchange online portal. This is where you go for product training, product marketing materials, and getting technical support. We will then explore the actual LastPass MSP multi-tenancy interface. We will explore the top 3 functions that you need to know and you need to set up and master for a pilot or a new customer. Once you win your first project, you will need a roadmap to guide you on the best practices to successfully implement LastPass with your customers. This is not only the technical implementation, but also the art of inducing end user adoption in your customer employee base. Finally, we'll review the key resources that are available to you for the support and building of your LastPass business. This is a very high-level introduction to getting started with LastPass. As a manager of an MSP, it will provide you the initial steps to get your team started. Let's start off by talking about the incremental opportunity that LastPass offers MSPs. Specifically, I'm talking about how to generate repeatable software subscription revenue and service revenue, and perhaps even expand into new customers. According to the security analyst community, in this case Markets and Accenture, the identity and access management portion of the IT security market will grow to over $24 billion by 2025. What's the basis of this? Well, it starts with an estimated 300 billion passwords that are in use today around the world. Most of these are duplicates, short, easy to guess, and never changed. Business leaders around the world know that most human beings do not exercise proper password hygiene. Hence, they're trying to mitigate credential breaches. Today, we know that 80% of breaches are caused by reused, weak, or compromised passwords. This problem is your opportunity. It can be easily solved by an enterprise password management system. In the realm of IT security, Channel Futures did a study in 2020 looking at what services are offered by MSPs and which services generate the most revenue. What is striking is that the identity access and management area is one of the most popular and growing problem areas for MSPs. Enterprise password management for shadow IT is a key area where MSPs can offer additional profitable services to their existing customer base. So with the size and growth of the market for enterprise password management, where does an MSP get started? Our advice is to start with early adopters. You'll be happy to know that LastPass is the market leader with over 30 million users. Personally, I'm always amazed when we attend trade shows and I meet hundreds of LastPass users who have been using the product for over 5 years to keep their credentials secure. My advice is to seek out LastPass users in the IT organization of your customer base. Make them aware that LastPass offers a business version of the product. While they will often ask a lot of difficult questions, these early adopters will be your best evangelists for a large LastPass rollout. So with all of that background information about the enterprise password management market and the low-hanging market segments, how do you start a conversation with a LastPass business prospect? It's actually a relatively easy conversation to get started. This is a bit of a busy slide, but it is a goldmine of discussion points to find and qualify pain related to enterprise password management problems. Let's take a moment and let's talk about a few of these questions. It is always best to start and talk about the notion of shadow IT. In the context of LastPass, shadow IT are the SaaS services the IT organization is not managing. These are not the company-endorsed applications, and they're not the applications integrated into the identity platform, perhaps via single sign-on or SSO. So what are the shadow IT applications? Well, for most organizations, these applications are numerous. Let me give you a few examples. I recently spoke to an end customer with a marketing team with a group focused on social media communications. They currently have 5 social media accounts. They're used by their team for services such as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and a few others. They were using the same login email address and password on all of their company accounts. While the password was random looking, it was also often changed. Some employees had noted this password in a Word document on their PC. Password changes were also communicated through company email and sometimes even through instant messaging. You can start to imagine the problems with this approach. Many organizations also have departments that use specialized SaaS applications such as project management tools, simulators, graphic design tools, and the like. These are the applications with too few users to justify integrating with a single sign-on environment. Sometimes they have monthly subscriptions that are paid for through expense reports. More often, however, these are the freemium services that are totally unknown by the IT organization. Without proper randomized passwords, the use of these shadow IT applications place an organization at risk for a very large social breach. In your prospecting, these discussion points and pain questions are a great place to start. Look for your customers that may already have some early adopters that are already using LastPass. Ask questions that uncover the security risks associated with shadow IT. You'll be surprised by how easy prospecting for enterprise password management solutions can be. Now that we have a strong idea of how to sell and position LastPass, let's shift gears and talk about how we can find resources to get our MSP team started. This can be done through the LastPass Partner Exchange Portal. The LastPass Partner Exchange Portal is a key resource for online training and marketing resources from LastPass. It is a critical resource when you're getting started with LastPass. It is also used as a priority support portal for our care organization. In this section, I will walk you through the key 3 resources found in the Partner Portal Exchange. We will start with online training. You will then learn a bit about how you and your employees can earn LastPass certification badges. We will then investigate the marketing resources and assets such as logos, product spec sheets, white papers, and campaigns. Finally, we will look at how you can log and manage technical support tickets through this portal. The first question you may have is, where can I find the portal and how do I log into it? By now, someone in your MSP organization should have received an email from LastPass that provides you login credentials for this portal. You can request login credentials for additional employees in your team by contacting your LastPass Territory Channel Manager. Normally, you'll receive an email that looks similar to the following email. It includes a temporary initial password that can be used to log in for the first time. To log in, you will need to simply click on the Login Now blue text in the email or simply direct your browser to partnerexchange.logmeininc.com. This should open up a web browser session to the main login page for Partner Exchange. Again, the web page is located at partnerexchange.logmeininc.com. The first time you log in, you will need to enter in your email address and the password provided to you in the email. You will then immediately be asked to change your password. If you've just installed LastPass on your device, be sure to save this credential as one of your first initial credentials in your LastPass vault. I also suggest that LastPass generate a long, random, stealthy password for this website. Finally, you will be asked to accept some of the terms and conditions for the use of this portal site, and then you'll be directed to the main page of the portal. While there are a lot of resources available on this portal, I would like for you to direct your eyes to the header bar to the trio of marketing, training, and support links. I've highlighted these in red for your clarity. We will now talk about each of these, starting with training, then marketing, and finally support. Currently, there are over 30 on-demand training modules in the Partner Exchange system focused on LastPass for sales, implementation, and support topics. These have been organized into collections of trainings where one can receive a LastPass certification badge. Today, there are 3 key certification badge types. There's first the Sharp Seller badge, then the LastPass Implementation Specialist badge, and finally, the LastPass Support Specialist badge. I would recommend starting all of your MSP team on the LastPass Smart Seller badge. This stream consists of 5 courses, totaling around 90 minutes of on-demand content that can be reviewed in multiple sessions. The content in this badge reviews all of the features of LastPass, their value proposition and benefits, and then it looks at some of the competitive market for enterprise password management. There's also a section focusing on how to do a proper qualification and discovery for LastPass. Finally, this badge does an overview of the LastPass MSP capabilities. For those more technical people that will be helping your customers implement LastPass, they should consider getting the LastPass Implementation Specialist badge. This course starts off by focusing on how LastPass is packaged. It then walks through the basics of LastPass and finally investigates how LastPass or how the LastPass experience can be customized by your clients. Finally, there will be certain individuals in your MSP organization who will be providing first-line support. The LastPass Support Specialist badge prepares one to efficiently and knowledgeably provide great support. It focuses on where to find support resources and how to troubleshoot common problems. The 3 badge certifications will prepare your MSP team to be able to sell, implement, and support the LastPass product. So we now know how to train our team on selling, implementing, and supporting LastPass. Let's talk a bit about the LastPass marketing content. The Partner Exchange portal contains everything you need to introduce LastPass to your customer base. This includes a wide variety of guides and overview documents, as well as spec sheets and case studies. These are the typical assets that you will need during the pre-sales process with your existing customers or perhaps new prospects. Additionally, the document library includes image assets that you may want to add to your website. Please note that many of these documents are available in French, German, and Spanish. Some of the documents are also brandable so that you can add your MSP information and branding to the documents. Of course, it is likely that you and your customers will have technical and support questions as you implement and deploy LastPass. The Partner Exchange portal contains links to 2 key resources that will make your job easier. To start, there are references to online help and a search bot for LastPass that can be found at lastpass.com/support. This is a conversational artificial intelligence portal where you can ask your questions directly, receiving an intelligent automated response. Live web chat with a LastPass care representative is also available if the bot cannot answer your question. At this point, let's talk about the actual LastPass MSP interface, focusing on the top 3 things that you need to know. This includes adding a managed company, role-based access, and LastPass policies. I would recommend getting acquainted with these 3 functions early in your LastPass onboarding journey. The best place to get started is to have a thorough read through the LastPass MSP implementation guide. This is a great document. This is a 6-page PDF document that explains how to set up, configure, and manage your MSP account. It also provides lots of pointers to step-by-step instructions. Before discussing these 3 functional areas, let's review how to log in. Logging in the LastPass MSP interface is the same as simply logging into LastPass. It can be done directly at lastpass.com or through the LastPass browser extension that perhaps you have installed already on your PC or Macintosh. Once you log in, go to your password vault. On the left-hand side of the interface, you will find several menu options, including admin controls. Clicking on this option will open up the MSP Admin Console interface. Please note that there is a new version of the MSP Admin Console interface currently under development. You'll see a reference to this in the menu. In this webinar, we will not be covering this new interface. We will be focusing on the currently available interface. From here, you will find options such as Managed Companies, Settings, and Advanced Options. These are the multi-tenancy interfaces where you can manage your LastPass customer accounts. Let's suppose that you have an existing customer that would like to run a LastPass pilot with some early adopters. To provision an account for this customer, you will need to add a managed company. In the Managed Companies section of the Admin Console, you will find a dashboard showing you all of the LastPass customer accounts. You'll also see some important global stats. You'll also find some critical detail such as active users, security scores, and available licenses in each of these accounts. To add a new LastPass account, you simply need to click on the Add Managed Account button that is in red. From here, you'll enter the managed company name and the number of initial licenses to allocate. Note that all of these allocated licenses are billed on a monthly basis to you as the MSP. While I will not be covering billing management in this webinar, information on this can be found in the LastPass MSP implementation guide, so again, be sure to download this document. The second of the three areas in the MSP interface that I will cover are role definitions. Simply stated, roles provide the super administrator an efficient way to control access to your MSP technicians. This is done through the creation of adding new role profiles to the default role definitions in LastPass, which are users and administrators. Granular access can be defined as needed to match the size and profile of your MSP operations, depending upon how you organize your operations and your account management. LastPass policies are the final trio of must-know features in the LastPass MSP interface. For example, by default, LastPass is accessible from anywhere, but your customer may want to restrict access to a set of work-related IP addresses. In other words, employees need to be physically in the office or on the company VPN to access their LastPass vault. You may also want to restrict access to a subset of employees, but let another set of employees have access from any location. These can be configured as LastPass policies. At the MSP level, a global default template of policy settings for all new customers can be defined and customized. Further customization of policies can then be subsequently done at a customer level. As with role-based access settings, it is worth getting familiar with the 100-odd options early in your onboarding as a LastPass MSP. Okay, let's assume that you've geared your team up to prospect, qualify, and win a new large LastPass opportunity. What are the typical steps to implement LastPass in a customer's environment? What is the typical time frame? And what are the key resources that you will need to deploy to see a successful implementation? We will answer all of these questions in this part of the webinar. This all starts with a game plan or a LastPass deployment project plan. We normally see this take place in 6 discrete steps, taking between 5 to 10 weeks. The first 3 steps are the meat of the technical implementation. This includes all of the critical project kickoff steps, followed by a technical setup and the details of administration. The next 2 steps focus on end user adoption. In my mind, these are the most important 2 steps that will determine the long-term profitability of your LastPass business. A lot of attention needs to be spent persuading the customer's end user base of the importance of password hygiene for both personal and employment-related credentials. Our recommendation is that this is treated like a 6-week internal marketing campaign executed before, during, and after the LastPass launch. Finally, there should be some responsibility set to measure, track, and actuate success for metrics for usage. During and after the launch campaign, it is important to determine what communication messaging results in true usage. At this point, I would like to spend a few moments on some of the implementation aspects that have not been discussed. This includes some points on browser extensions and on mobile software deployment, training, and some interesting security awareness video content related to password hygiene. One of the first things that you'll want to ensure is that there is as little end-user startup friction as possible. This starts with the pre-installation of the browser extension for Windows PCs or Macs. Under the Settings Install Software menu option, there are detailed instructions on how to set this up for the initial target browser, whether it's Chrome, Edge, Firefox, or Safari. It's also possible to have our iOS and Android LastPass applications auto-installed via Microsoft Intune as part of your mobile application management system. Of course, pre-deploying the LastPass client software is not required and can be done manually from LastPass.com by the end user. It is highly recommended, however, to pre-deploy these apps if you're already familiar with these standard Microsoft deployment tools. Let's talk a bit about training. By training, I mean training for both your customers' administrators and their end users. LastPass offers video training available through a couple of different portals. First, there is a lot of content available on the LastPass YouTube channel. For end users, look for the LastPass 101 playlists. We also have our Embark environment, which offers more structured training. This content can be found at embark.logmein.com. This is the content portal maintained by our customer success organization that is available to you and your customers. Before we finish on the topic of implementing a new LastPass customer, I would like to spend a few minutes talking about the communication strategy for launching LastPass to your customers and users. If done right, this will determine the long-term profitability of your LastPass business. There are several key elements that should be included in your communication strategy. First, you really need to ensure that there is an executive in your customer organization that is sponsoring the importance of password hygiene. It is also critical that you identify a set of early adopters in your customer account. These will be the personalities that get the word out about LastPass and the importance of password hygiene. While it's conceivable that using LastPass could be mandated, it's hard to enforce the usage of a password manager in general. It's better to stay positive and gamify usage metrics with contests intermixed with security awareness content. Depending on how your customers and users are used to getting customer information, LastPass offers a wide variety of email, internet web page, and security awareness video content that can be used to simplify the launch. Finally, it's critical that your executive sponsor assigns someone in the organization to monitor success metrics. This may start with metrics related to users logging into LastPass for the first time, perhaps creating their first vault item, and the like. No two implementations are ever the same, and in this final project phase, measures will be needed to ensure high levels of LastPass user adoption. Recently, the EMEA LastPass team created a set of 11 one-minute videos that can be used as part of your customer's LastPass launch and their information security awareness training. These videos have been organized into 4 areas that are to be used before, during, and after the LastPass launch. While this content is available on our YouTube channel, the video files can also be made available in MP4 format if needed for self-hosting. So that wraps up our brief discussion on successfully deploying LastPass. I hope that the 6 deployment steps that are needed to implement LastPass are part of your project management plans after selling LastPass. Before we end today's seminar, I would like to take a final moment to summarize where you can find the information to get started with LastPass. The best place to start is to download the 6-page LastPass MSP implementation guide, which is a PDF file. This is a very well-written document with links to detailed instructions to get your MSP business set up with LastPass. In my mind, it's always the first place to start. We would also like you to be aware of some of the local EMEA people resources to help you get started. The primary people that you may want to contact include the following people. First, you have a territory channel manager. You need to make sure that you become very familiar with this person as they can help you get your MSP business going. Julie Hameau in the Partner Success team is also an available resource to help you work through any problems that you may have. And finally, I manage the EMEA Solutions Consulting team, and we have solution consultants who can help you with webinars and other things. We are at your service to get your LastPass MSP business opportunity off the ground and flying.